Hi, my name is Megan, and in this video I explore how my understanding of what makes us human, distinctive, and unique has changed. When I first thought of my answer to the question, what makes us human, what is distinctive or unique, if anything, about being humans, my answer felt pretty straightforward. I believed that what made us unique was simply our mind and its ability to think, feel, reason, communicate, and reflect upon existence. I also believe that this intelligence led us to have superior power over other species, as, say, a dog wouldn't be able to do all of this. However, after 5 weeks of study, my perspective became more complex. I began to realize that just saying we have intelligence and emotions doesn't fully explain what the mind actually is or how it relates to the body. Debates around questions such as, is the mind separate from the body? What makes you the same person over time? Greatly shaped my new perspective. To begin, one of the biggest turning points for me was the mind-body problem in week 1. Before this, I naturally leaned towards the dualist view that the mind and body are living in distinct states. This is because it just felt right to believe that the mind is something immaterial, living in a body of physical matter. As a thought experiment, if I were to lose a limb or an arm as a part of my body, I wouldn't lose a part of my mind, and I would still be myself. Additionally, my theistic belief that the soul ascends from the body after death to go into the afterlife also encourages me to gravitate towards believing that the mind is separate and a rational immaterial substance. However, a scenario which really shocked me was the split brain experiment. In this scenario, Joe received brain surgery where his brain was split, resulting in a split of consciousness. With only his right eye, he is able to see and name images he sees. However, with only his left eye, Joe can't verbally identify what he's seeing, but with a pen and paper in his hand, he's able to draw out what he's seeing. As a divided brain leads to a divided consciousness, it suggests that the mind depends on the brain, and they are both one physical entity. Furthermore, this is proven in Wilder Penfield's brain stimulation study, finding that by electrically stimulating specific areas of the brain, it could evoke vivid memories or emotions for the human. As different areas of the brain associate with different aspects or parts of the mind, it ultimately shows that the mind emerges from the brain's physical activity rather than existing independently. While I once believed our minds were something above the body, I see that our humanity may actually come from the connection between the brain and the experiences it produces. The split brain scenario and neuroscientific study made me realize that aspects of the mind, our thoughts, memories, and emotions coincide with physical structures of the brain. This also shifted my dualist view to a physicalist view that our mind and body are both explainable in physical terms. What I find most confronting about learning this is that who I think I am, my thoughts, feelings, and memories, are just a result of perfectly placed structures and complex processes of the brain. Also, it makes me question if being human is an ongoing process rather than a stable essence. So now, instead of defining humans as an immaterial mind, I would argue that what makes us human is our brain's ability to generate consciousness. Another topic which really challenged me was week 3's debate on personal identity, making me question what aspect of human nature defines our personal identity. Before this, I always thought that being human and distinct meant having my own memories which only I have experienced. This is further reflected in John Locke's famous thought experiments, The Prince and the Cobbler. This entails a prince and a cobbler who swap bodies but not consciousness. They still have past experiences in their minds that make them who they are regardless of what appearance meets the eye. This made me think that the defining factor of who we are is what we have experienced, which aligns with John Locke's illustration, showing that personal identity is their consciousness and memory rather than their substance of the body or soul. Although my thinking didn't stop there, Thomas Reid's brave officer objection illustrates that if identity depends solely on memory, a person could be simultaneously identical and not identical to their past selves, resulting in a logical paradox. The experiment includes 3 identities of one man. Identity A, a young schoolboy who was flogged. Identity B, a brave officer. And Identity C, an old general. Although Identity B remembers A and C remembers B, C has no memory of A, which doesn't mean a loss of identity, as he is still the same person. Instead, argues that memory is faulty and temporary, and not enough to define a person's identity. This resonated with me, as I don't see memory as something clear and easily clept. As an example, if I forgot something that I did last Wednesday, it doesn't result in a loss of who I am. Moreover, this led me to find reasoning and Derek Parfit's solution that is not just memory alone that makes us human, but a number of factors such as emotional connections, memories, and beliefs and desires, known as the bundle theory. Parfit also believes that this is an empty question, as it lacks the necessary information, context, or content to be answered, which is similar to his club analogy, which claims that there is no true or false answer, only facts known. Overall, while John Locke's claims align with my initial thinking, Reid and Parfit's both challenged and expanded it. I now see personal identity as something shaped by psychological connections that go beyond human understanding, rather than being shaped by a single factor. To conclude my studies, if someone were to ask me what makes us human, what is distinct or unique, if anything, about being human, I could confidently say that it is our identity as something more fluid, a mix of memories, beliefs, experiences, and brain processes that are constantly learning and evolving us every day.